Kelp forests are, compared to coral reefs, maybe not the most easily accessible. They are often in places where the water is cold. It's underwater, and when you see it, often you think of it as a slimy, maybe scary thing that is touching you when you are swimming. I think everyone knows about coral reefs, what they are, what they look like, and I want kelp to have the same level of fame as coral reefs or mangroves. I'm Chu. I'm with the Kelp Forest Foundation. My official title is a program lead, but it essentially means that I help shape our research program. So our goal is to better understand kelp forests. How does it boost biodiversity? How does it sequester carbon? Or are we losing kelp? Or is it actually, do we have a lot of healthy kelp forests? I focus specifically on the ones that form forests. And they are really important because they are like a home to a lot of marine species. So you'll have kelp forests where you'll find a lot of seal, a lot of fish, because kelp has this beautiful forest structure. It's almost like a tree, but then underwater. So you'll see that a lot of fish, for example, use that safety of the kelp plants to lay their eggs or to nurse their young. It's also a food source for grazers. So urchins, for example, eat the kelp, and then there are a lot of species that then eat the urchin. So they are becoming an essential part of the food pyramids in the ocean. And that is something that we need to really cherish and make sure that they keep existing in a healthy way in our oceans. Kelp grows really fast. The fastest growing species of kelp, which is called giant kelp, can grow up to 0.5 meter a day in ideal conditions. So what it does is that it's essentially photosynthesizing. So it's turning light and it's turning carbon into its biomass. And so the carbon is then stored in the kelp. And then as kelp naturally grows, some of the kelp will break off and end up in a deeper ocean. And that is the part that sequesters carbon. So what you see is that when it falls into the deeper ocean, it's locked away for a long time. And that is important when we want to have less carbon in our atmosphere. Kelp forests are, compared to coral reefs, maybe not the most easily accessible. They are often in places where the water is cold. It's underwater, and when you see it, often you think of it as a slimy, maybe scary thing that is touching you when you are swimming. And so I've seen people engaging with kelp, and the first time that you see kind of this almost Amazon-like forest, but then underwater, I think it's so inspiring. And seeing that people are getting used to these ecosystems and these places and getting just as excited as I am about the marine species that you see around it, I think is just one of the reasons why I want to, stand for kelp and make sure that they are as healthy as possible. And I think my personal mission is, to kind of spread the kelp gospel and to let people know that it's a really important ecosystem, and showcasing that we have examples where we can, we're talking about finance, so have a profitable business out of kelp cultivation or kelp restoration. And I want to also stimulate people investing in nonprofit research and capacity building to build the industry around kelp. I think everyone knows about coral reefs, what they are, what they look like, and I want kelp to have the same level of fame as coral reefs or mangroves. So that is my personal goal, to make people aware and share kind of the beauty from this ecosystem and hopefully introduce them to it and engage, making them excited about this ecosystem and being part of it. Governments should recognize that if they have a coastline, that they have a lot of marine resources that they need to, better manage. And so if governments realize that value, they can create marketplaces and support science, for example, in carbon sequestration, and create blue carbon credits or nature credits, because that makes it really easy for people to invest in solutions like this. I think a lot of power is found in stories. So if you have communities that can work together, recognizing the value of what happens if you protect an ecosystem. For example, in a fishing community, you'll see that if you have a healthy kelp forest, you probably also have a healthier fishery. And so as a community, I think we should recognize the value of the common good and work together to best manage it as we can.